watching this if you're looking at it on YouTube, but if you're on YouTube, you clearly see it is just me, your co-host, Hunter Malone here. Now, Jacob is not going to be with me as he is at home in St. Louis, hanging out with family. We missed last week because I was out with COVID. We're not going to miss 2 weeks in a row. So I'm going to do a solo episode, but this one's going to be a little bit different. But without further ado, happy Mother's Day, happy belated Mother's Day, and let's get cracking. Now, I did miss last week because I had COVID, so that's why I got a Sprite. I'm not drinking beer right now. We're still fighting though. I'm doing a mini Sprite, something to get a little crisp pop in here, but very good. Now, to name a player I forgot about is going to be actually a funny thing. It was on Baseball America, and they were going through reports, going through all different types of things, and they were like, this, the only player that's busted is Brian Taylor. Who the hell is Brian Taylor? He's the only person that was ranked in Baseball America's top 3 to never have pitched an inning in baseball. And I just thought, how does somebody get to be top 3 prospect and never make it? So I looked him up. He was a pitcher out of high school that the Yankees signed. This is the same time that the Mets were with Dwight Gooden, so they thought they had their Dwight Gooden. They've got this kid, a lefty, big guy, and he's supposed to go to Texas. And they said, no, 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 we're gonna sign you. But the kid signed Scott Boras, and Scott Boras swears to this day that's the best pitching prospect he has seen come out of high school ever. Now, the year before, Boras had advised, if I'm not mistaken, Todd Van Poppel, who was given $1.2 million to sign with the Oakland Athletics before. Brian wanted more than that. He was like, I'll go to the University of Texas. You guys just wasted your first round pick on me. Like, I'm good. And so it came down to George Steinbrenner, Scott Boras. The day before school started, they come to an agreement, $1.55 million, August 26th, the day before classes were set. And any further delay actually would have meant that the deal could not have been signed until after the school year ended, which coincided with the following year's draft. So they had a hard deadline, get it done, or you don't sign your first round pick, give the man his money, and you get this top end talent that you expect to be your Dwight Gooden as a young guy that's going to excel up the ranks pretty rapidly. Now, before even playing a game, he was named baseball prospects number 2 prospect, number 1 prospect off the jump. I mean, he hadn't played a single game, no college ball, no pro ball, nothing. Already top prospect in baseball. That's how he got the ranking. Now, this is Baseball America happened in 1990. So 1992, we're saying this guy's the next best thing. I mean, and his first season, he had a 6-8 win-loss record with a 2.57 ERA and 187 strikeouts and 161 in the third innings pitched. Now, that's not horrible, especially considering he did have a 12 strikeout, 2-hit performance in September. So that's the end of the, kind of end of the season, or not even end of the season, but he's 2 months in a pro ball and he's already doing a 12 strikeout, 2-hit performance. I mean, it makes you feel good. The next year, he took the stage in Double-A where they had planned to focus on his breaking pitches, especially a curveball, because that fastball was already good enough, but the breaking stuff just wasn't there, and they needed to develop it. And why not do it, in Double-A? Now he was the number 2 prospect behind some guy named Chipper Jones. I wonder how well his baseball career ended up. 13-7 record with a 3.48 ERA and 150 strikeouts and 163 innings. So sitting at that 161, 163 back-to-back year. He was expected to go to AAA to start for the season. However, the Yankees wanted him to take part of an instructional league to work on his fundamentals, and Taylor thought he'd rather go home. He goes home and gets injured while defending his brother in a fist fight. Now, he had suffered head lacerations during this fight, and as well as a couple altercations. He attempted to throw a haymaker, but was then it caused an injury. Boris told reporters that it was a bruise. However, the Yankees made him go visit Dr. Frank Jobe and called the injury one of the worst he had ever seen. It needed to perform 90s. That's like getting Tommy John back in the day. You're done. You're old news. So your fastball doesn't have any zip anymore. Your curveball never developed because you wanted to go and throw your shoulder out. As a result, couldn't really find the zone. And if he did, it was a weak fastball. He had a 2-5 win-loss record with a 6.08 ERA, 54 walks and 40 innings. Now in 96, they wanted him to go to Double-A, but he was horrible in spring training, so they sent him back to single A, where he went 0-5 with an 18.73 ERA and 9 starts, which none lasted past the third inning. So they straight up just outrighted him. He spent the next 2 seasons in single A, getting worse and worse, where then the Mariners picked him up, dropped him, the Indians picked him up, and in his last season, he had a 27 ERA. Pretty brutal. Now, all of our players we've forgotten about have all been pretty good players, pretty positive. Now, this is a little spin on it because after baseball, it says that he has 5 daughters and he worked as a UPS package handler and a beer distributor. And then he moved back home to be a bricklayer with his father. And in 2012, Taylor was charged with cocaine trafficking undercover after undercover narcotics agents purchased a large quantity of cocaine and crack cocaine from him over a period of several months. He was formally indicted on cocaine trafficking charge in 2012, found guilty a month later, and was sentenced to 38 months in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. September 12th, 2015, he was released, and I have no update on him from them. But he is a player that I forgot about, and probably because this all happened before I was born, but I had never, ever heard of a prospect be number 2 and not make it. Player I forgot about. Now, weekly hammered, weekly homered player of the week. For me, it's hammered. That's got to be Jarren Duran. Jarren Duran hasn't been amazing out on the field, hitting wise. He just for reporter called him a dummy and ended up deleting his IG. We don't have any other breaking news, but it's of course Jarren Duran making an ass of himself again. Has to delete his social media. I think that's probably for the better. Now, the homered player of the week, on the other hand, is going to be Bobby Witt Jr., who was batting 407 last week, a 1.263, 7 runs, 3 homers, 4 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. Now, he was absolutely tearing it up. Bobby Witt, well deserved for this. An absolute dog. In case you don't know the name Bobby Witt, wake up. Speaking of waking up, prospect. A high schooler. Right now, we're in the middle of, I think it's regionals. I think here in Florida, it's regionals, but all around the other states. Brody Bamula, the big lefty. We saw him earlier, or at least I saw him earlier. I want to say about 2-3 weeks ago. He threw a 20 strikeout no hitter. And I think the coolest part about it was the guy who had, I think it was a 19 strikeout performance in his own high school. 60, 70-year-old dude was there to watch Brody, 20 strikeout no hitter. Now, this is a 6'9 lefty with what I'm grading an 80 grade fastball. It is probably the best fastball. It's up there with Peyton Toley's fastball. I mean, this thing is nasty. It hits up to 100 miles an hour, some a little bit over. It's it's high school. They don't have the best radars. Anything's a little pocket one sitting there, but I mean, this fastball with a quality changeup, he was absolutely dominant for Bishop Phenom and Mass. Now, he is a Texas commit, but has jumped up in the first round within the past 6 weeks and could be a top 10 pick. I mean, 6'9 frame, 80 fastball quality changeup, just work on a good curveball slider combo. I mean, Baseball America has him ranked as the number 6 high school player. You don't know if there's 5 high schoolers better than him. Question last year when the Angels took the high school player, and I get it, it's the slot money and all this stuff, but I mean, dude, Brody Bamilla, that's a big kid out on the left-handed side. That fastball is no joke. I'm telling you, it's 80 grade. Some people have it 70, 75. It is 80. That thing is money. But he wasn't the only one that was throwing no hitters. It was like either the same day or the next day. The Rays prospect Aiden Cramarosa, he threw a solo no hitter, and it's funny in today's age. When you say no hitter, you have to say solo. Now, I will also say that Brody's was no hit. It was a solo as well. But Aiden threw a solo no-hitter in single A Charleston. He went 9 full innings, no hits, no runs, a walk, 11 Ks, 101 pitches, earning him the minor league player of the week. He's a former 8th round pick out of Fresno State. Now, in college, he did have a 27.4 K rate. And so far in single A, he's pitched in 6 games to a 4-0 record, a 2.38 ERA, 34 innings pitched, 49 Ks, and a 0.79 whip. He's a mix of a fastball that ranges from 88 to 91 miles per hour and a really slow, depthy curveball, upper 60s, lower 70s. Throws in a changeup around 80 miles an hour, 8 to 10 break off of your fastball, so you get that good tunnel, a little bit of drop, and a slider in the upper 70s, and then he also throws in a little bit of harder cutter in the low 80s. Now, what he did was simply outstanding and remarkable. And it's funny in a day of age where everyone chases velo that the guy have two different arts of pitching. I mean, we have a lefty and he's in high school. 20 Ks hitting 100 miles an hour. But then you have this guy in single A, an eighth round pick who's just giving you 88, 90, can pitch, paint the corners, knows how to slow it down, mix the speeds. Like not every fastball has to be 91, 91. You go 91, 88, that guy might be jumping out in front of it, and that difference could be it being fair and foul. It could be the difference between him being on top of the ball and being right on it. You throw in that cutter to make some movement, everything dances. The baseball's already moving. So if it's moving, you know, horizontally and vertically at the same time, it's a hard thing to hit, man. Now, if you're 101 is straight, hitting, you can time a jet. That ain't nothing. To have a guy like Aiden come in here and almost Maddox people is the best way to describe that. That's a pitcher, dude. That's somebody that I'm excited to keep watching play. Now, big shakeup over in San Francisco now that we're done with all the no-hitters and all that is the Guardians. I remember getting the notification. I saw that they sent down Bo Naylor to AAA, and I was like, well, who's going to be their catcher? That's silly. And then about 30 seconds later, my question was answered. The Guardians went and got Patrick Bailey from the Giants in exchange for a left-handed pitcher, Matt Tugboat Wilkinson, and the 29th overall pick in this year's draft. Now, if you're the Guardians, you go and get Patrick Bailey, a certified defensive beast, the catching position. He's going to limit runs. He's going to help the pitching staff. It makes total sense. Now, for the Giants, you got two young studs that are catchers coming up, knocking on the door. It makes sense for you to move. Go ahead and get some pitching depth. And you get a first round draft pick out of this. Now, normally in baseball, you don't really get to trade it, but because it is a balanced comp pick, it is able to be moved. And that's why the Giants find themselves now getting the 29th overall pick, as well as freeing up some money to where they could potentially make a push for number one overall prospect, Rock, out of UCLA. Seeing some interesting things come out of that way where they now have a little bit more money. They could tell Rock, hey, you need to ask for X amount of dollars, outprice the three teams ahead of him, so he slides to 4, where he can be a San Francisco Giant. Now, is that legal? Who cares? I mean, who cares? In the world where the Giants or the Dodgers are paying for everyone, they're buying all the best players. Who cares if it's legal? At this point, I mean, this game always changes. The world of NIL constantly evolving. So yeah, do whatever you can to get the best player, especially if you get him early, latch him on, say he excels pretty rapidly, sign him to an extension, boom, we're getting him young and fresh, and I've got all the control. Hell yeah. I wish my team was doing this. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's illegal, but I don't think it's probably what MLB wants from the Giants, but they're trying to win. And that's an ownership and a group that is excited and wants to win and is going full balls to the wall. I support that 1000% because you have teams like the Red Sox who are not doing that, and that's embarrassing. Now, what I've seen most recently to pivot off of this is I want to talk about injury reports. Now, especially when it comes to pitching. Now, we saw Tarek Skubal go down with arthroscopic surgery to remove loose bodies from his pitching elbow. Now, it's the same thing as Hunter Green, and that's something we've seen more and more happening more and more. Now, that is I want to say a 2-month process, 3-month process. Hunter Green got it done right about opening day. He should be back next month. It's about a 3-month process, give or take how much loose bodies you're removing. And I'm wondering, because it's becoming more and more regular, is this like cautionary thing kind of like, we notice this happens and then Tommy John happens. Like we notice there's loose bodies and then there's a snap. So we get rid of the loose bodies because I'd rather do the 3 months than the year and a half. You wonder if it's more of a mechanical aspect. Nowadays, I mean, back then in the way I was taught, you use your legs for power. You look at somebody like Pedro Martinez, a little body, but his full everything into it, driving off of the mound, using the thick thighs, the thick legs, give you everything you've got. Nowadays, guys are hardly using their legs. They're kind of just falling and trying to whip it down as hard as they can. And I wonder if all that tension and everything in that elbow is the reason why you're starting to get I wonder if it's a mechanical issue or the way obviously throwing the ball is not a natural motion. So when you add this more rapid pace to it. I wonder if that's why we're seeing loose bodies and things flipping off in there, a lot more Tommy Johns. So that's something that I would love to kind of have someone look into and see from a doctoral side or the medical side, if that's what it is. And he's not even I just named two aces, and then you have somebody like Garrett Crochet who's also down with left shoulder inflammation. I mean, we thought it was going to be Scooble and Crochet on one side and Paul Skeens on the other. Well, I mean, it's a three-legged race, and now it's become wide open. Now, granted, Paul Skeens is kind of slamming the doors shut. You've got Yamamoto, you have Shohei Ohtani still pushing over on that end on the NL, but it's pretty much Skeens to lose. But on the AL, I mean, Cam Schiller was making himself a name. Jose Soriano's telling everybody, "I'm here to stay." I mean, it is. Well, I get it. We're a month in and we're talking about Cy Young awards, but man, it's exciting times. And I'll tell you, there's no more exciting times right now than to be in Wrigley. And I'm pivoting because the Cubs have been red hot. I mean, they just ended their 10-win streak. I know that just ended, but in that span, I mean, they were one of the most exciting teams to watch. They're scoring 5.6 runs per game, giving up about 2.6, about three walk-off, or they had three walk-offs in a row against the Reds. It's gonna be a wild feeling, man. Imagine if you're the same closer in all three games and you just get walked off all three times. I would hate to see that. I would probably skip that next road trip. Next time I see the Cubs again, in order to do this, like you need a couple of things to go right. And their home win streaks up to 15 games in a row, so it's not just they ran into some pretty shitty teams. It's not what it is. Not at all. I mean, it has to do with their relentless pressure. I mean, this is getting on base mixed in with clutch hitting, and it's from a number of guys: Suzuki, Bush, PCA, and Conforto. It's showing you that this lineup is deep and that every night somebody new gets to be the hero. Now, on the other side, the starting pitching has been quietly dominating, given the Cubs' quality innings like Shota's 10K game. You had James Talon providing steady mid-rotation innings. You have Ben Brown, who threw four no-hit innings in Texas. Colin Rea continued to give dependable starts. I mean, this feels sustainable because they're getting on base. We're hitting for power. We're playing strong defense. We're getting quality starting pitching. And the depth across the roster is just something that it's there. They haven't been plagued by injuries or anything like that. And for that reason, this is sustainable. I mean, this is what you want come May, and this is absolutely what you want come September and October. I mean, this kind of run right here, if you time it right in October, that's what wins you World Series. The timely hitting, the team hitting, pitchers getting you quality starts. The defense isn't letting you down. We're not giving teams extra outs. We're constantly putting pressure. We're stealing bases. We're sacrificing bunts, forcing you to make the correct plays, giving up bases, and then drop a squeeze, doing something timely hitting, putting the ball in play, a sac fly at the right time, things like that is just winning baseball. And not only are the Cubs doing that, the team that's doing that probably the best in all of baseball, it's probably the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, that is Rays fashion, good starting pitching. I mean, McClanahan is back and just cooking. Nick Martinez, a guy that nobody wanted in free agency, just dominating. And then you have Drew Rasmussen, who's not having his best season to his standards, but I think any starting pitcher would love to have a Drew Rasmussen off season so far. This is a team that gets on base. They steal, they put on pressure, they do the small ball thing like I was telling you the Cubs are doing. The Rays are doing this every night. They are producing runs and just effectively doing their job. It is doing your job and doing it well. Guy gets on second base. We get Chandler Simpson up. Walk. I steal second. He steals third. Squeeze. We got to run. Maybe you messed up the third. Now I'm on second again. Bunt to the right side. I force you to make that play. Now we've got a guy on third. One out. Sack fly. We just scored two runs. Like it's things like that that they consistently do. And it's like chicks dig the long ball, but there's nothing sexier than beautiful baseball like that. I mean, the way the Rays are playing is sexy, and I stand by that 100%. I approve that message. That thought right there, I approve it. The Rays are playing sexy baseball right now. I don't care about the long ball. I like bunts. I like hit and runs. I like doing the sexy little things and doing it right. Now, pivoting to a team that's struggling that is now kind of sending mixed signals. We've got Mattingly Magic. Now, Donnie Baseball has given life to the Phillies, and I'm wearing the hat mostly because it matches the black. But after starting 9-19 and right near the bottom in MLB in both runs scored and team ERA, Philly have really turned it around, going 6-1 under Mattingly's first 7 games. Starting pitching has been dominant with a team ERA of 1.46. It's barely scoring a run per game because of that dominance in the bullpen doing their thing. And they're just getting quality outings from their starter. Defense has played significantly better, and the core has been playing better, being Bryce Harper and Stott, Alec Bohm, and Trey Turner. But to be fair, they also are playing a softer schedule, so it could be that. But is it a softer schedule, or could it also just be a psychological reset? I mean, I'll let you be the judge of that, but I like what the Phillies are doing, man. That core, we told you earlier in the preseason, they are in a win now mode. I would not be surprised to see them be absolute buyers, sell out for this window right here, because I really don't know how much longer this core has, especially being the Trey Turner, who is 30 plus years old, Bryce Harper. You also have Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Kyle Schwarber all getting up in age, contracts near to expire here in the near future. Except for Bryce. Bryce probably has another 5 years. But that being said, the age thing that's that window we're talking about. Now, people who have all the time in the world, age-wise, prospects. I hinted about this earlier. We talked about 2 prospects above, but we saw quite a few break through and make their debut. We saw, EJ Ewig from the Mets. Now, Ewig, he's a steady center fielder who tore up AA and AAA. He brings elite athleticism plus defense and stolen base upsides. Now, he debuted this week and immediately became one of the most intriguing young players in the National League. He comes up for the Mets, makes an immediate impact for a team that's struggling and really needs a breath of fresh air. Now, on the other side of town, we saw the Martian crash into the wall, gets carted off. I hate to see. Now I hate the Yankees, but I hate to see teams get injured. I hate guys getting hurt. I want you to lose at your best. I want all 26 of your best guys up there, and I want to beat you that way. I don't want to see injuries, and I hate that. But if there's a light on this, we finally get to see what Spencer Jones looks like against MLB caliber players. And unfortunately, he got to face Mizorowski and see what 103. I mean, just overmatched. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Spencer Jones, he's a New York Yankee now, and he's a 6'7". You can do it with me. A 6'7" slugger finally got the call and recorded his face or his first major league hit on Mother's Day. It took him 2 or 3 games to finally get that first hit. Obviously, he had to go. Mizorowski was a buzzsaw. The next game, I think he struck out 2 or 3 times. He's got a big swing and whiff. I mean, the elite velo and seeing the breaking ball that major league players have, he just almost looks overmatched at times. But also, it's a 10 at bat span where I think he's got 10 at bats, 6 strikeouts, something like, you don't have that in front of my head. But he offers such huge raw power and see surprising speed at that side, though. Like I said, strikeouts are going to be a part of that game. So if you're willing to live and die with that, which the Yankees pretty much are built for that, home run strikeout, I mean, they want the long ball. My philosophy is different. However, that's the Yankees side. Now, on the other side of the world, one of the more intriguing prospects is Ryan Waldschmidt. And I say that because he's an outfielder. And you saw Alec Thomas get DFA'd. Now, he had that big breakout in the postseason when they made it to the World Series. He had a really good World Series run, and so it's surprising to not see him make that extra step up, and even more surprising that they do end up DFAing him. And Alec Waldschmidt is a really homered. He's a 20 still player with excellent on-base rates. It says right here, Ryan Waldschmidt is an outfielder for the D-backs. Now, expected to be here this year. He's in the 90th percentile in exit velo at 104.3 miles per hour. Now, the hit tool and power tool are both graded at 55, and so is the run. Now, fielding and arm are average. They're both set to be at 50. Now, Waldschmidt went from being barely recruited out of high school, which is kind of amazing, to starting at Kentucky to being one of the best draft prospects in 2024. He could find at bats for the AA or for the D-backs in 2026 as an athletic outfielder who hits for average and power. Now, he is slightly above average in both of those tools, with the mix of that speed, I mean, with them DFAing Alec Thomas, I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be your everyday outfielder for them. Another one that I like is Gage Workman. Gage Workman from Detroit recently called up, already delivered a pinch hit homer. He offers defensive versatility with some pop, making him very useful in Detroit. If you saw their scouting report, you saw Robbie Snelling get called up. Snelling is a left-handed pitcher coming out of LSU. He just got called up too in Portland. The two LSU pitchers just feel like every year LSU is pumping out some kind of pitching talent. But Robbie Snelling's a lefty whose average fastball is coming in about 94 miles per hour. Now his fastball and curveball are both rated at a 60, and this is 20 out of 80 scale. So we got a plus fastball, plus curveball, the slider, changeup, both at 55, and controls at 50. So average control for plus stuff. He was the 2023 minor league pitcher of the year, selling stuff backed up in 2024 when he was traded from the Padres to the Marlins. He bounced back to 2025, showing improved velo and a sharp two-playing curve. He struck out 166 batters and ranked fourth in the minors. Snelling made his debut. He didn't do horrible. Obviously, first game jitters, not too bad. I think he had only 4 Ks though. Not having a fastball that really rears up and ramps up, will probably prevent him from being an ace. However, being that 3 or 4 guy, I don't see him not being successful in the big league, especially with the plus fastball, plus curveball. Velo might not be there, but the control is. I like it a lot, man. I think the next wave that we're expected to see is going to be that George Lombard Jr. wave, especially if something happens to Caminero, the Walter Jenkins or Walker Jenkins. Can't say his name right. The outfielder for the Twins. Now, I feel like the Twins are kind of always plagued with injuries. And if they're not injured, they come up, explode, get found out, and then they never figure out a counterpunch. And this is Royce Lewis. This is Luke Kershaw. And Kershaw has actually kind of figured out his way. He's probably the only one that's had a decent counterpunch. This is Eduardo Julian. And if they're not hurt and suck in the minors, that's usually what happens. And that's been Walker Jennings' thing. He's hurt all the time. He is your new Byron Buxton. And it's sad because he's so talented. He is a 5-tool guy, big power bat, good speed, good defense with a nice arm, hits for contact, hits for power. I mean, this is a big boy that unfortunately, with all the graduations, he'll probably bump up to number 2 in the top 100 prospects, but just with him not being able to play all the time sucks. Colt Emerson's another one that's kind of they haven't been promoted, but they're bouncing on the door. Like they are pounding on the door, ready to come up. And Colt Emerson's a nice shortstop coming over on there. With JP Crawford getting older and aging, I wonder if an injury might just be the last we see of him, or if they just straight up DFA him to flip it. I know Colt Emerson is definitely making it a conversation that he needs to be up here. And Jesus Mane, it's going to be the new number 1 prospect in all of baseball, just exploding through the minor leagues, coming up rapidly. He is going to be like I said, your new number 1 prospect. Now, he does play shortstop. He is in the Brewers system. I mean, him and Terang up the middle is going to be insane. I don't necessarily think the Brewers will rush him to the bigs, but he could be maybe a September call-up if he explodes and just dominates AAA. Wouldn't be super upset about that at all. Surprising. Guys that got promoted that aren't going to the bigs is Seth Hernandez. I mean, just the Florida Complex League, he is just way too good. This stuff's just dominating. I mean, he had a .96 ERA among 50 strikeouts in just 28 innings. I mean, he's averaging 2 Ks per inning. More than 2 Ks per inning. It's just, that's a grown man that just don't belong there. And he's coming out of high school. He's that high school arm and that talent. He's going to go to Greensboro High A. I'm excited. I'm really going to be excited for him to make that jump to Double-A. That's when he sees some real bats. And I say real as an older, more mature guys that are ready to roll. So once he sees Double-A, that's the biggest jump, barring some injuries or some changes. I don't think they'll move off of Skeens if Bubba Chandler doesn't explode, if Jared Jones doesn't come back 100% healthy. Could open up a spot, but even then, it's a team that's got veterans all around it, and everyone's pitching so well for him. So it's not going to happen this year. I suppose sitting at a 65, curveball out of 55, slider 55, changeup of 70, and that changeup is disgusting. That's the one thing I noticed. That is his put away pitch. It's just falls off the table. It's so gross. And the controls on a 55, that'll probably get bumped up to 60, especially with the way he looked in high A. I mean, just absolutely dominating hitters. And he stood out in 2025 in the high school class, just with the ease in which he could sit upper 90s. I mean, he has pumps for the legs, the present physicality that he has as being 18 years old. This is a grown man that looks like he's 22 physically. Like he is just a dude. And with that, it should help with the ease and transition to pro ball. Typically your 18-year-olds are a little bit scrawnier. The first thing you have to do is get them in the weight room and make him eat and grow, put on 40 pounds of muscle before you put him out there. With Seth, he came in ready to roll. And he said he throws one of the best changeups seen by a prep right-hander in recent years. I'm a sucker for a changeup. If you could throw a changeup, I want you on my team. The fastball changeup combo it's the most basic and what you teach kids immediately. Everyone wants to throw a curveball, but dude, if you throw a curveball wrong, it's gone. If you throw a changeup, you might be able to just slip it by people. But I mean, Seth Hernandez is just a dude. Like he's so gross. And he gets promoted to double A after posting a .44 ERA in his first 5 starts at high A. He has been rewarded. Just a ridiculous start to his professional career after being selected in the third round in the 2025 draft. Now, he made his start on Mother's Day, and in a way, I was sad because on September, Portland rolls out the Paw Patrol unis. So to make your debut in the Paw Patrols gets washed out by the rain. I wonder how that's going to affect his long-term career. I know that would probably psych me out, and I don't know if I would be able to recover him, but he's obviously a better pitcher than I am. So we'll see from there. I think prospect-wise, that's all that I have on this episode. We're going to continue to drop those scouting reports that we have. I will be at the Tampa Tarpons game. Hopefully, I was trying to see Dax Kilby. It does not look like he has played all season, and I can't get any news as to why. I can't figure that out. Might reach out to some of my people at the Tarpons and see why. But we're gonna go ahead and scan a couple of the guys. Probably be in Clearwater on Sunday, a little Threshers game. I got to see JoJo Parker couple weeks ago. I'd like to see him but one or two more times before I make official report on him, just because he's originally seeing him obviously in the combine as a shortstop. I was thinking that boy's too thick to be a shortstop. Probably slide him over to third. But defensive reps, I've only seen him at shortstop. I'd like to grade him as a third baseman. Therefore, I'd like to see him a couple more times play third. He looks comfortable over at third base. Obviously, when I was there, that's when he homered. He looks good. He's got pretty good speed. Nothing crazy. Bigger body, coming to his own, but he's gonna be an electric third baseman for the Blue Jays or for somebody. Um, and then pivoting to unfun scouting notes. When I was a jumbo shrimp in 2021, I used to work there. I wrote down who I thought people were gonna project out. Now, obviously, these are AAA guys, but we really sat down on it the year afterwards. I had my thoughts already and I kind of wrote them down in a journal and a book, but I really sat down and made this document in 2021 when I was with the Dunedin Blue Jays. 'Cause I would just sit there and I'd watch and I'd be like, every time this guy's in this moment, he swings at everything in the dirt. I throw him 3 pitches in the dirt. Next thing you see, dirt, 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 strikeout. And I'm just sitting like I'm just a guy operating the video board. If I could see that, I know the other team sees that. My ex-boss at the time would get so irritated that he called it bad mouthing, and I was like, it's not bad mouthing if I'm literally have a scouting report right here of everyone on the team. And I would project this guy is probably going to be double A. He's done after this year. And he pretty much just told me that was bullshit, full of shit, and that I was wrong. But so I wrote them down. And this is what 5 years later. I like to reflect on it, and I'll do it on video. Dunedin Blue Jays, my favorite one. It was Adriel Sotolongo. He got big, unathletic, the most aggressive hitters I've ever seen in a good way. Kid would swing at a rosin bat if you threw it at him, and he wouldn't hit it either. Runners on base, don't throw him anything near the zone. He's swinging no matter what. Wouldn't re-sign him for next season if I had to decide. I made that, want to see, after 2 weeks. 2 weeks seeing him, he did not come back the following season. That was a 4-hole hitter. Let's see, we've got Rainer Nunez. It's definitely not a shortstop, but probably a first baseman, just because he's a bigger body, bigger build, thick ankles. Play up the middle, you need more nimble ankles. So the thicker you are, You're gonna need to be either at third or first, which is why I said JoJo's better at third. And I say that because he is a little more agile, whereas Rayner, he's a below average fielder. With that, I don't think you could handle the hot corner, and and he's a below average fielder at first. Now the power was above average. I got out a 60 grade. The hit tool's a 40. Contact wasn't there. Super slow at a 30. He's improved his chase rate at the plate and work more walks. I said he reminds me of a thicker Lewin Diaz. And Lewin Diaz is a guy that I'll get to here because he was just in AAA. And Pinto told he's a top 25 prospect, but I haven't seen anything from him to believe that. He's got a weak arm. He'll be better suited for second than shortstop. Makes contact at a high rate, but weak power. If he fills into his frame because he was recently drafted, he could be a good gap to gap guy. He'd have better speed, but I'm not high on him. Adrian Pinto, I believe, is out of baseball. I think he only got up to double A, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he's still playing. Maybe he's in double A. I didn't see him as being an MLB guy. And I'll note the MLB guys. Steven Machado, top 15 in the organization, is actually a joke. No clue he was ranked until a month into scouting him. Below average power, wiry frame, above average runner, but has the footwork, range, and arm for a shortstop, but I don't see him making it past double A. You'll never guess where he struggled. Double A. Never made it past. Cam Eden and Nathan Lucas will be MLB players. I said that in 2021. I like the way that Cam Eden plays baseball. Now he is in the AAA team for the Yankees. He's had a couple of injuries that set him back. Now, obviously, scouting reports are barring injuries. You never want to project that a player will get injured. To me, that's silly. But Cam Eden, I like his speed, the defense, just the way he plays. He's a ball player. It's a good dude, good head on his shoulders. Hits the ball for contact, got good pop, gap to gap power, can drive it, especially pull side. I guess you a few ones. And then Nathan Lucas, you see him in Toronto. I mean, that was another one I was like, dude, I like him. I like it a lot. I like what he does. Connor Cook mixes three pitches, all of which can flash above average. He has a unique ability to ride a fastball, spin a breaking ball, and turn over a changeup. Like I said, I'm a sucker for changeups, and I got to see Connor Cook pitch multiple times. His fastball sits 95, 96, does touch 98 at its peak. It's got ride, like it's got a good moving. You didn't see a lot of guys barrel it up, and if they did, it was second or third time when he was tired and he made a mistake. Now, he's got a good run, which makes it difficult for hitters to get him playing with it. Now, he spins his sweeper slider. He spins that thing. It's gross. Now, I was able to go online and find it's at a 28 to 3,000 RPM, which is nearly a foot and a half of sweep on average. All I did was add a couple of things. Slits at 83, 85. Kind of like to see a little bit bigger gap in that. Tells me that we're not throwing a slider at one speed, but we're able to change it. Sometimes you're able to slow it down just a tiny bit to get a little more break. Kind of do the same thing with fastballs. Like sometimes I'll throw my four seam as hard as I can, and then the next time I throw it to him, maybe I'll spread my fingers out a little bit more and get a little more run and just in. I'm a three-quarter guy, so I'm able to move the ball a little bit. And that's the difference between him seeing that and being, oh, I'm late, but I see it, and then you have it and it got a little more movement, and then he's on top of my fastball and he's just driving it in the dirt. Same with anything like a cutter. You typically want to go, all right, fastball, 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 cut, or cut. At the last second, you spin it. And whenever you throw a slider, that's curve. You want to come more across the ball earlier. So I like to kind of get on top of it. I always think get on top of it just because I'm three quarters. So really what I'll do is come across it like that. And when you're able to just think of spinning it and you spin it, you'll get more RPMs, you'll get the bigger sweep, but that's pretty much it. The changeup is something he had like saying average command would be generous. It was fringe average command on his changeup, which I mean, it could be a combination of things, just not comfortable in the pitch, not confident in it. It could be you're squeezing the ball too hard, and that way the grip comes out differently and you're spiking it. It could be it's too deep and it could be a number of things. I mean, you typically want to hold it like an egg, is what I did. You put your fingers on the seams. I like to put that first line on your finger on the inseam. Then you just make a circle and you just hold it kind of like an egg. Because I'm three quarters, I come across it and you just let it roll off. The longer it sits on your fingertips, the slower it's gonna be. The grip is gonna be, and same when you throw like a normal changeup or a palm ball, whatever you wanna call it. This is good for like your 7-year-olds. But if you throw your changeup like this, most of the kids have small hands, so this is like their fastball. But once they get a little bit bigger hands, start throwing four seamers and two seamers, this changeup right here is just gonna be it. I mean, you just let it roll off those three fingers. That's your basic changeup. The circle change will get you a little more depth to it, but he just never was able to really get it. And if I'm not mistaken, Connor Cook is in AAA. I said he has big league stuff, but he just needs to stay healthy and consistent. If you're gonna be in the big leagues, dude, and you're going to be a starter, you need to have three pitches, typically two that are excellent and one that is good, two that are good, okay. You can get away with a fastball slider and be a reliever, but you can't be a starter and just be a fastball slider, especially going 2, 3 times around. You have to have a changeup that you can throw for a strike. You need to have a curveball or a cutter, sinker. You need to have things that move and play off of each other. I think he has also dealt with some injuries, so those are setbacks. I said Max Swanson. I said I really like his pitches, but I'm not 100% on relievers. Feels like a middle relief guy that you can count on. Back then, like, I really didn't know how to scout a reliever. It's me being honest. Like, I just like the guy. I like the stuff that he has. As a reliever, it's a guy that you see comes out here and produces, and you can put trust in. The stuff is there. You just need to do slight tweaks, modifies, let him, see how it plays. And of all the relievers on that team, there was like two that went pro, and I picked one. The other one I think was there for rehab, so I picked the only one that went pro. Ricky Tiedemann, I mean, Ricky was a high value prospect. I think the number one prospect at the time because Bo and Vladdy and Cavan they were all on the show. So I think Ricky might have been number one prospect, if not top five in there. Now, I was always excited to see him. I got to see him and Edger Painter kind of pitch against each other in a single A game. So that was super cool to see both of them just be in their bag. But this is pre Tommy Johns and all that stuff. So this is, straight from high school, college. And Ricky Tiemann's got electric stuff. I mean, it's a plus fastball, plus slider. I love the change. It's above average control. Like he just has it. He's like a Sean Manaea, but he tops out at 98. Just love this prospect. Please stay healthy. And that's really it. Like if he's healthy, he's your Tarek Skubal right now for Toronto, which isn't a crazy thing to say because he has that much stuff. And Tarek Skubal's another guy who has a plus changeup it's sexy. Changeups are sexy. And that's all that I have on Ricky. Now Demiano Palmigiani, I said he feels like a fringe MLB guy. He's got real power, good to ball skills, strong hands and wrists, solid third baseman. He's got an average arm and fielding is average. Then to go with an average running ability, the bat will get him there, but the fielding won't hold him back. The biggest test will be the jump from A ball to double A. But I think he'll be able to hit his way through it, which he was. He's in triple A right now. And I said fringe MLB player as in he's not going to be your starting third baseman, but he could be a utility guy to come off the bench. That still could be true. And if he falls short and sits at triple A, it's like a partial. There was Brazelon, which I just stopped typing because I had nothing, clearly had nothing nice to say. That prospect's horrible. And I think he went to Indy Ball the next year. Like it was so bad. Roque Salinas, I said no power, no speed as an outfielder, but has really good contact skills. Gut feeling tells me he'll flame out in double A. But he does have a history of injuries. It's an injury prone guy that just has no power and no speed. Like you're just a contact center fielder. I was like, they would move you to a corner outfielder, but you have no pop. I was kind of confused why he was out there. He looked overmatched at times, and he did make his way to Double A and flamed out. The 2021 Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp will try and make this quicker. With this one, they're less sophisticated because this was my first year. So, like for this one, I think Brian Miller just won't make it past. Like he just won't make it past Triple A, which is what I put, and he didn't. I was just trying to figure out how to project where is a good run. Like I saw him, he's very talented as an outfielder, but he just didn't have that twitch to him that a big league guy has. Like he was just a really good pro ball player, and there's no shame in that at all. Bryson Brigman's another one. I thought Bryson Brigman was really good, but I just didn't see him fitting at the Marlins at that time. And then they went and got Otto Lopez, and I was like, there's zero shot Bryson starting over him, and then they went and got Jordan Groshans, who I was higher on than Bryson Brigman. And Jordan Groshans actually one of the few prospects that I was like, I really like this guy, and he flamed out. And I think I liked Jordan Groshans because of MLB The Show. He's one of the reasons why, and I put this at the bottom of this, but I'll jump ahead to it. It's I refuse to let MLB The Show tell me what prospects are good and which ones aren't. So that was kind of one that I was swayed, but like I said, I'm not going to let MLB The Show tell me what prospects are good and not because they're not always good. Clearly, like, just the Sixto Sanchez card, that was insane, and he just flamed out. Bryson Brigman, no room on the big league club for him. Max potential is as a backup utility guy. Probably won't be a starter in the bigs, but as a good AAA player, I like him for the deep depth. So if something goes down, Bryson Brigman was a 300 hitter in the year that I was watching him play every day. Like, I went to 50 or 60 Jumbo Shrimp games. I watched him hit 300 all season long, and I was like, he got good contacts, good base hit, smart on the base paths, but he's a second baseman that's just got no juice to him. And when you're sitting there with Jazz Chisholm, like Jazz Chisholm is second baseman with juice. He's got the pop, he's got the power, he's got the swag. Dude, you're not making it over them, and your arm isn't going to get you to shortstop. You're, next up was Corey Bird. Looks overmatched AAA, struggling to hit, and far too large. And far too large of a sample size. I said he won't make the show unless his big improves dramatically, which it didn't. Lewin Diaz, he has the size, but not the consistency to sustain a big league career. He has the power stroke you want from him, but big swing and miss, and chases far too much. Contact is below average. Speed is way below average. I said a AAA cap unless injuries allow him to get called up. And then I literally said Cooper got injured and Diaz got a cup of coffee. So that one I was super confident in. And that one Jacob will attest to. Lewin and Jesus and Joe Joe Dunan, he can attest to. And with that, Joe Dunard, he is Alex Rodriguez's cousin, nephew. They're related in one way, and he hit in the 4 hole, and I was like, this guy is not it. He looked overmatched in AAA. Now, obviously, he was totally filled out in his size, so it's not like he's getting bigger or stronger or faster. But a fringe average hit tool, free swinger, and will swing and miss in the zone as well as go out of it. He is able to work the count and take a walk. He was an adequate defender, average arm, average runner. I put in A-Rod Cash in a favor with Jeter to keep his career going. I genuinely think he's on full. And yeah, at that time, Jeter owned the Marlins. Why not? My nephew plays there. Can you put him on the AAA team? Like that, it can only get you so far, and I was spot on. Jesus Sanchez, big guy, big bat, love this prospect. He'll be an MLB starter for years. Good discipline, good instinct, solid fielder with a good arm. Now he did get called up that same year, so it wasn't like that crazy. We're in AAA, so it's kind of to pick a AAA guy and be like, he's gonna be in the bigs. It's like, yeah, you got a cup of coffee. Congrats, you got it right. For me to be that accurate in low A, to be like, yes, yes, no, 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 no. I feel like that has a little bit better. I'm gonna try and do that with college guys this year. It's happen to it more next year and just see how good I can get at it. Nick Fortes, probably the best catching prospect I've ever seen in person. As far as the hit tool, it continues to get better. He'll be in the big soon. He's got good power from the position, but just needs consistency. I project he'll have a very good MLB career. Nick Fortes is currently the starting catcher for the Tampa Bay Rays, and he was the starting catcher for the Marlins. So he's been in the bigs for about 2 to 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. And I still stand by that. I mean, his hitting consistency has gone up better. The contact is there, and I think just his overall confidence has gotten better, which allowed him to be in the position that he's in. The defense was amazing. Like, there's zero fault in that. Not fault, but Tristan Pompey actually asked, shocked he got to AAA, will never make it past AAA. And that was correct. He didn't. Parker Bug, if he would command the strike zone, he'd be in the bigs already, but he can't and will probably be an indie ball soon. He was pretty bad for us in AAA, and he was here. I think I said that just to be a dickhead. That was probably one of my best dickhead moments. Now, at that point, we got Steve Brew on quite a bit and Juan Franco. And Juan Franco is the greatest prospect I've ever seen live. Five tools was without a doubt. I mean, the hitting, the run, like when he was there, I think he homered 2 or 3 times a game, and when he didn't, he just missed and hit a triple. Like it was insane. He walked a couple times, stole second, stole third. Just the defensive plays he made was I just put he doesn't belong in AAA. He'll be a top 100 player in a year. He's that good. Now, I don't remember how quickly Warner became a top 100 player in baseball, but like I said, watching him in AAA, not the biggest take. He might have been the number one prospect at the time. He probably was the number one prospect at the time. So not the greatest or biggest. Oh my God, he hit the nail on the head on that one. And then Bobby Witt, I put buying all the stock possible. He's a five-tool athlete and a difference maker and a dog. Will be an MVP candidate. Yeah, I feel like I hit that once again. That was a layup. Bobby Witt in AAA. Like I was like, this dude's a dog. And then my note at the bottom is I refuse to let MLB The Show tell me what prospects are good and which ones aren't. So prospect talk is gonna be something we're gonna do more of. You're gonna see more of our scouting reports. Now, this is the full scouting report that I have. Previous, I didn't do this in 23, 24. What hinted at it in 25. Nothing that I went in detail like this, but that's gonna be something that I'm looking to do this season. So if you do have prospects you want me to look at, and it could be college guys. College guys are something reports aren't even out on. So that'll be a genuine me. I have to sit there, watch film. I prefer to do them in person. So you'd have to be in the Florida Complex League in order for me to kind of see him in person or come to Tampa, Gainesville area. So for him, I'd have to scout him over TV, which is not the easiest thing to do. It's just not. Like when you're there and you hear the sound off the bat, I can see the way his foot moves. I can move and see different angles of the same at bat. You just don't get them on the video on the screens here, and I'm never gonna get access to any of the side angles or anything like that. So scouting somebody through TV is not gonna be easy. Not that I won't do it, but it's gotta be asked for. Final thoughts are: hope you guys enjoyed this. This is one of the few solo pods that I've ever done, so these will get better. Hopefully, I won't have to do too many more of them, as Jacob will be back next week. But family takes precedence over a podcast that we make literally no money off of, and we just do it for fun. I have been your host, and this has been a pleasure. So you guys have a great night, great rest of your day if you're listening to this during the day, and like I said before, happy belated Mother's Day.